Hey everybody, welcome to another live trading session. We are going to be starting here in about 2 seconds. Just going to get a couple of things set up here, and then we're going to be going right now. So bear with me for literally 30 more seconds here, and we'll be ready to rock and roll. Okay. Thanks for joining us again this evening. We're going to be doing another. So you guys have got a bunch of messages dinging in here. Hopefully you can't hear it on your end. I've got the notifications, desktop notifications on my system here muted, so hopefully you can't hear that very well. And I apologize lately, the last few sessions I've moved my offices and I got a little space heater, and it's been cranking on here, and you might be able to hear a little background noise, something like a furnace or something firing up, but I just got this little thing cranking under my desk here just to warm things up a little bit, and then when things get nice and toasty, I crank her off. So fortunately the past few live sessions I've had it on, because it is freezing where I'm at, and I wish I lived in a tropical location. One day I will, but it's kind of one of those things, having a discussion with some family. Once you you get born into a place and all your family's there and all your roots there, it's pretty tough to leave. So my wife and I were discussing one day maybe we'll go somewhere tropical and move there. So that's the pipe dream, one day. But in the meantime, we're going to be trading some Forex markets this evening. So we don't have a ton of news, so just keep in mind it is Good Friday this Friday. The March 30th is Good Friday, so bank holidays everywhere. I'll just pull up the Forex calendar here real quickly, and then we'll get going here. Give me a thumbs up, guys, if you can hear me, or just say yes or no if you can hear me okay. I'm sure the my voice is coming in loud and clear, but just in case, just type in the chat window there. Just say yes or no if you can hear me. That would be great. Meanwhile, I'm going to pull up the Forex calendar here, the news calendar, and we're going to see what's happening. So we're into Wednesday here. We've got some U.S. final GDP numbers coming up at 8:30 a.m. New York time, so quite a few hours away. We're about 8.5 hours away from that, and then we've got some crude oil numbers, and then a little later in the day there is another FOMC member speaking. So I don't know how much impact this is going to have. I know, for instance, on Tuesday, this one here, we did see a couple of markets move with it, but nothing too serious. It was more so the U.S., the CB consumer confidence and things like that moved the markets pretty nicely. But nonetheless, it doesn't mean that we're going to see any lull in price action for today. So going on through the week here, there is some euro and some pound sterling and some Canadian dollar news here on Thursday, but as you can see, Friday, banking holiday, so not a whole lot going on. Going to be pretty quiet, so I would suggest that if you are planning on trading the markets, I would have all your trading done by today, maybe Thursday. There could be a couple of good setups on Thursday, but I definitely wouldn't be pushing it. So with that being said, let's rip over to the markets here quickly, and we'll get started. So we've got a chart of the US dollar index up, and you can see here after price ran out of the consolidation area here. So I'm just going to mark out a couple of lines for you guys so you can kind of get a feel of what I'm talking about here, if you don't already. I don't know, just so you know, I don't know what everybody's level of trading is out there who's watching this right now. So I'm going to keep this real basic, real simple. I don't want it to be confusing anybody. So we'll just, again, just kind of call it a couple of levels here, and we'll just sort of see what we see on the chart. So again, price has been in this nice consolidation range here, came down, created a low, came back up, failed to take out the highs, fell back off again and took the liquidity just briefly, basically wicked down, grabbed some stops, ran higher, took stops above the market, and then just traded in a real tight range from there for about 3 weeks or so. And then finally we've just broken out of it briefly and so far have rejected. Now I'm not suggesting that, I'm just going to put a low on this candle here if I can get it. The body low right about there. So I'm not suggesting that price is going to reject here and run higher. Typically what happens when price runs out of consolidation range, it'll smash down or run out of it, and then it'll come back and it'll retest the highs or the lows of the previous consolidation range. In this case it did it yesterday, and to be honest with you, I was calling lower prices on the US dollar. I did mention that I would like to see it retrace up. I didn't think it would have given it to us yesterday. I was looking more towards the end of the week of it doing it, possibly even today's trading. I wanted to see one more down day on this before it started to do any retracement, but decided to give it to it on Tuesday and so yesterday, and so it is what it is. You just have to deal with it and base your trades on the information that it gives you at the time. So price rebalanced itself quite nicely back up here, and more so I'll just move it down just a little bit just so you can see the high. This was Tuesday's candle high right there, retesting the old lows back in here. So price is nicely balanced in this area, and if it wants to go higher, it should start running higher from here. It may come down a little bit, but I wouldn't expect price to go any lower than 88.80 before it did start resuming higher, if that's where it wants to go. I think we're going to see a continued downward move in this, but just keep in mind, right, we were surprised on Tuesday this move here, and I was expecting a continuation lower, so I'll be expecting that today. So we'll just sort of watch and see how that transpires. But I'm going to go down here to a 1 hour chart so we can kind of see how price looks, and I'll just put on the day dividers. And so this is Tuesday's trading, so just a big rejection day. Monday started trading softer right off the hop, came down, failed to take out the previous low back here. Obviously it didn't even get down to the body lows of those candles, and then started trading into Tuesday, and Tuesday basically just did a false breakout, took the stops below here, kind of a double tap once, twice ran it lower, and then skipped it higher. So going to be interesting to see. I just want to do a quick get a quick reading on a level. So we did pretty much have a just about a symmetrical price swing from this swing down to this swing high here. So in my opinion, price filled in quite nicely, and again this was banging off the bottom of that consolidation lows here that I wanted to see, and so price filled in a lot of and took a lot of liquidity for everybody who was going short on Monday, who was stacking all of their orders up in here. They cleaned that up nicely. So we're going to have to wait and see what happens. Now, again, like I say, we'll watch for price sort of in this level right in here. And then right about this, I'm going to say kind of right about these old highs in here. If we're going to see lower prices, I don't really want to see a whole lot of retracement. I don't want to see any wicking happen. I'd like to see price just steadily start to fall lower, and then through this little consolidation in price here. And then from there, I'd want to see, obviously, the lows back over here, swept, taken, done and handled. So that's sort of what I'm looking at to happen here, and it may not get all the way down there. That's a pretty good price move to get all the way down there. Right, we're talking, let me just get a line on that and get a price chart on that so you can see price tag on that. So you can see the low here comes in at 88,143. So we'll just call it here. Oops, grabbed the wrong label there. Sorry. Might not be able to get it. It's pretty close to right there anyway. Yeah, let me just move this guy. 88. We'll call it 88.15, just sort of a round number. Yeah, if I can get it. Gotta love these. The precision of these tags that we're using here sometimes drives me nuts. Anyway, so that's kind of what we're looking at the low here to get run. So that's what I'd be wanting to see, and that again comes down at to this line right here. That's a ways. That may take a couple of days to get down there, so I wouldn't be expecting to see those lows run out for Wednesday's trading here today, but maybe into Thursday. If they drop price nicely today and then do a little bit into London and then New York open on Thursday, and then you might see some profit taking towards the later hours of the trading day on Thursday. So price may want to finish and close higher than the wick of this low here. So we'll wait and watch and see. Can't do much else but watch price and call out our levels. So like I say again, I don't want to see price test these highs again. In my opinion, this was the stop run, and I believe they're seeking price lower in the market now. But again, if price comes down into here, into one of these two levels here, and stalls and does not want to have any willingness to go higher, then that could be it. They could want to run it back up into the consolidation area, which again I don't think they need to do that. They've traded out of here nicely finally, but I thought the same thing right here. You see this candle that very reminiscent of what it did today, where it traded up higher, and basically all it did was just run the stops, the old stops up here, and then traded right back it down into the consolidation range and chopped sideways for about another week, and then finally this week it fell out. So I don't want to see this happen here, but we've got to be cognizant of that you know, they could just be continuing to consolidate the US dollars. So I'd like to think it's fallen out, and this was the retest back up into it, and we should see lower prices. But price is price, and we just have to do what it wants us to do. So that's that. So if we are looking for lower prices, and again, you know, these lower prices, just even price moving in a range down into here, and that's about maybe 20 pips or so, about 20 pips. That would even give us a nice trading range, and we could take, you know, anywhere from 30 to 50 pips on euro or pound dollar as well too. If that's all we did and that's all we got, and the market decided to run higher, we could easily call that and get a few pips on one of those two pairs. So let's just jump over to those charts real quick here. I'd like to take a look at the pound dollar mainly. So you can see here, I'll zoom this in a little bit. Right, nice trending market right now, nice bullish, big bullish market. And they hadn't come down. I was talking about this on, was it last week? It was either yesterday's trading session or last week. I can't quite remember. But we had seen, sorry, I mentioned that they haven't come down and grabbed any stops along the way here. They were just basically, you know, stair-stepping the price higher and higher and higher, and they weren't coming back down to grab any stops, as you can see here, right? And then finally, they did it on yesterday's candle. There's a big area of obviously liquidity under here, and they jammed the market down. That was a big day. Yesterday's candle came in to about 180 pips, so it was a big range day yesterday. I also wouldn't be surprised, just to keep this in mind too, after big range days, a lot of times you can see consolidation happening after very large range days. So You got to keep that in mind as well too when trading. You know, for instance, like you see this move right here, 3 very, very strong up days and then consolidation. Okay, you know, 1, 2, 3 up days and then small consolidation. You know, similar back here. You know, big range up days and then consolidation. So, you know, again, just keep in mind, price leads, you know, goes from expansion to contraction all the time, and so price really may not get anywhere today. It may not go higher, it may not go lower. It could just sit within this candle's range here. But again, that doesn't mean we can't pull a few pips out of the market. So, just kind of drilling in. I'd like to see price here, so pretty similar to what the US dollar is doing. I'd actually like to see US dollar come up a little bit higher here. So in about the next hour or so, I'd like to see price run these highs here quickly. And then, one second guys, just got to turn off my notification here. My phone will be beeping all night. And just sort of retest this small consolidation range in here. I'll go down to a 15 minutes so you can see. Just these 2 highs or 3 highs right here. I'd like to see price run those out, fail, and then go lower. If price starts to just trade straight down from here, it could go through this, but again, I'd be watching at these areas here for a potential bounce, and then it can another run higher. So just keep that in mind. I'd like to see price move up first, fail either right in here or just above these candles, and then start to go. See these 2 equal highs over here. That's typically where a lot of people put their stops and a lot of liquidity rests. So not necessarily retail traders or anything, you and me, but more so, you know, large funds and the nature of that. Like I said, I'd like to see price run a little bit higher here. When we're just finishing the Asian session, and the London Open is just starting here now. So you can see they're chopping price sideways nicely, building up their positions. So a quick move higher and then a continuation lower is what I'm looking for. And ultimately, I'd like to see them take these out. So if that's what we're looking for there, it'd be pretty much the opposite on the pound dollar. Very, very similar price action. You can see the highs that it created here. 2 equal highs. Again, what I just say about equal highs, that's a great area for price to want to run to. That's got, you know, take me written all over it. So similar setup as the US dollar. I'd like to see price right from here. I don't really want to see it go much higher from here, but I'd like to see it come down and trade. I don't think we'll get... I'd like to see it take out these lows before it goes higher, but it may just want to retrade back to the highs here. So what I'll do is I'll just actually put a level right here. We may only get a slight retracement down here and then a continuation higher. On the daily, so this is what I'm looking at for the daily. This is just these candle highs, the body highs over here. That's 142.60 level. And so from current price, that's about 80 pips from now, just a little under 80 pips from now. So if we go straight up here, that'd be the target, and it clears these highs, that'd be the target that I'd be looking for it to hit. And if it wants to go clean through that, then the next level is this old high back here at 143.45. But before it does that, I do want to see a retracement. I'd love it if it cleared out this little price range in here. I'll just maybe highlight this a little bit better for you guys. I'd love it if price cleared out this area in here, and just kind of drove back down and then failed to get lower than here. You know, somewhere in this area, right around this line here that I've got on the chart. I'll put a price tag up on that so you can see what I'm talking about. Somewhere anywhere in, you know, even 30 would be great. 141.30 to 141.40. That's where I'd like to see price come down to tag down to. Sweep out all the lows under here, grab all the liquidity, because right now, so you got everybody looking at this price going short. It finally tapered off here, and now you've got traders going long. And what are they doing here? They're just jamming their stops up under here. Every time price runs up, You know, a lot of people use trailing stops and things of that nature, automatic trailing stops, and so those just keep getting tucked up under old lows, and those are just perfect area for price to raid before they continue higher. And they haven't really had any pullback, a slight one right here to grab any liquidity going lower. So again, just a couple of areas to watch for. I don't want to see price come back down here and tag through the old low again. I think they've done a good job of clearing out these, so what I'll do is I'll just kind of, like I was saying here, how price is stair-stepping higher and higher and higher and higher. They finally came back down, because on this next move up, everyone keeps moving their stop up. And that's what they did here. They came down, ran those stops, and then traded off from there. So I'd be looking for just a slight move down, and that would be somewhere in the neighborhood of now that's a pretty big run, 50 pips from here, 40 pips, 40 to 50 pips. I don't know that we're going to get a retracement that deep. Like I was saying earlier, we may just get a move down to this level here, the old highs in here, maybe a little deeper, and then it could start to run up from there. But this would be great if we could get something like this happen here. And then, like I say, the target that I'd be shooting for, the first one would be those highs there, and then the second one would be that old price level that was up here that you can't see right here, 142.60, and then out on the daily there at 143. But again, same type of idea as the US dollar. I don't know that we'll get a full straight move up here today. It may take a day or two to run that, because price now, that would be about 160 to about 180 pips to run the highs convincingly. So if we do get a fallback in price, it's going to make that target even bigger, so it might be a little bit tough for that to come out. But we'll see how that goes. I'll watch price with you here for a little bit, and we'll just discuss the markets for a little while. I'm not going to make this a very long session this evening. I'm going to call it quits here in about 40 minutes. Right about the top of the hour, and then we'll just let you do your thing. But like I say, same type of idea with the US dollar. Don't want to see price go any lower than right here. See this candle right here? That's kind of the line in the sand for me. If it starts going lower than that, then and I'll put another price level on that. Really don't want to see price go any lower than you know, and I'd even say 141 big figure, right about here. You can get a level. Come on. Perfect. Don't want to see price go any lower than that. That is the absolute line in the sand right there. And that's about halfway through this candle. You know, if price does want to come back down, I'd like, you know, I don't want to see the body of the candle close down there. Now, it runs into a bit of a problem, because I typically use about about a 30 pip stop on my trade entries. And as you can see here, if you wait and hold out to 141.30 to take a trade, maybe potentially a little lower, there's a small little area from the top of this candle to the bottom of those ones where price may, it could be a sweet spot where price may want to trade back down into. We can even take a fib. I don't want to necessarily go from the, let's see what happens when we get from the candle low here. We get a retracement. Yeah, I don't want to. It's a little more conducive, assuming we get a pullback here, and that this is the high that it just, the short-term high that it just created. I'd like to see price, typically price will retrace down to these Fibonacci levels. 50% is very, very common, and then to take the stop run here, I'd be looking for 61 to 72 even, and that also brings us back down to kind of the high of that candle there. Don't know if we'll get that deep of a retrace. You know, like I was saying, I mean, price may just go straight up from here. Of course, there's that option as well too. But line in the sand right here, and entry level anywhere, you know, pretty much in between. So pretty big margin in there, and we'll try and refine it a little bit as price starts going down. But you just have to watch the levels, and like I say, really, this is more so the area that I'm more interested. Definitely sweeping the lows in here. I'll even maybe get another price level in here. 10, yeah, 15 to 20. What's 20 bring us? Right in about there. Yeah, I'd say anywhere from 140, 115, 140, 120. So a couple of levels to watch. Like I say, line in the sand right here. Don't want to see price go lower than that. An entry anywhere here, 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 or here. I wish I could clarify it a little bit better for you. I just want to see any rundown in price is what I want to see. I do not want to see price just going straight higher. Now, the one thing I haven't talked about is this consolidation level in here. Again, there's equal highs up here, so this is very suspect. If they left this area here like this, where they rammed price up and then whipped down and failed to go any higher, I would not be as keen for them to come up and sweep these levels up here again. If something like this happened, I would not be as keen to see them doing it, and only mainly because of where we're trading in such proximities of these highs here. That could just mean that they're looking for lower prices before they run it higher. So again, I mentioned I'd like to see a bit of a retest and them taking some stops. They did that yesterday right down here, and basically they traded right off of this old candle high right there. So this high came in this high came in at 140.65, and the low here today came in at, it'll give it to me, come on, I hate it when price doesn't come up on that level. What did I say? The old low was the old high was 140.65. Come on, it's not showing up. The low here is 140.65 too. So like I said, perfect delivery of price right back down to the pip, and then a beautiful rejection, and price has been running higher since. So like I said, typically if price is going to retrace at all, this is the time of day that it does that. So let's put the day dividers on. And the one thing is, though, price has really been trending here. That's kind of the other thing here that I'm just sort of looking at. So the new day starts right here. Price really started running right out of the gate, over 30 pips, over 40 pips. And I don't know if we're going to get a deep retracement or not. A lot of times when they start running price that quickly, they're in a very big hurry to get above or to get to certain targets. So you may not get very deep retracements. But like I say, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen within the next couple of hours here. And we should basically see price, just start to reject. It might put in a couple of wicks with some unwillingness to go higher, and then they'll start dropping it down. And then these are the areas that we're going to be looking at and potentially getting a reversal at. So, but like I say, I do not want price to trade lower than here whatsoever. So we'll just sort of see how that goes and that pans out. But going down to a 15-minute chart here. Yeah, you can see how price really created some equal lows, equal low, equal low, equal low. That's sort of what I was looking at up here with all these equal lows. And so admittedly, yesterday, like I said, I was looking for price to continue higher. And when it did this, ran up, that was suspect. If it didn't want to stop here, sometimes you get like a breakout and then a retest. So price will do this. It'll chop and consolidate in this range. And then eventually it'll do this. It'll break up, kind of like what it did here, and then it'll come back to the highs in here, and then it'll reject off of those highs, and then continue higher. It's called a breakout retest entry pattern, and the one basically as soon as price broke the low here, that would negate any theory that really as soon as it breaks basically this candle in here, then you know that trade is no good and you have to switch your standpoints. So I was looking at the Euro USD yesterday, and this is what we were looking at here. So I'll just kind of show you quickly. Yesterday's trading, price was sitting here in a nice tight range. Again, those equal lows that I was talking about that I wanted them to raid, I was expecting them to come down first and then run higher and potentially trade off of the old highs over here. It did the exact opposite, and so that's where you got to look and say, okay, is this a retest, or sorry, is this a breakout retest situation that I just outlined there? So is that one of these that's happening here? And then what tells you that it's not is basically price, runs through that consolidation level and then to the downside, and that's when you know they're going to run price deeper. So it's easy to catch yourself if you are wrong in a trading situation like that. And it was just it was a minimal drawdown. I think of, depending on the entry that you got in, entry level at anywhere from 5 pips to 15 pips. So not too much, easily recoverable with one trade. So it was minimal. And that's the thing. If you're wrong in this business, it's okay to be wrong. You can never be right all the time. And, even the best are not right all the time. So what really separates average traders from profitable, very, very good traders is their ability to marginalize the risk associated with the trade. So rather than let the trade go and seeing, well, maybe it'll reverse sometime in here and now you're 50 pips drawdown and price keeps smashing down on you, no, you cut your losses quickly and early, and you wait and watch price. If it's not in line with the overall time frame bias that you had come to, then you just chalk it up as you were wrong. You watch price get back in alignment, and then that's when you attack from there. And like I was saying, that's what separates an average trader from a very good trader. If you can minimize your losses and maximize your gains and keep your profits, that's what's going to keep you in this game for the long term. So Euro USD, same. I really hate that this button is right there. Sorry, and you guys can't see it on. Oh no, you can see that on your screen. I don't know why they put this tile button in right beside the minimize button. They do it to me all the time. I accidentally hit it all the time. Anyway, same type of idea on the euro. I'd be looking for a drop down. Don't want to see price break these levels in here and then just a continuation higher. But again, really took the stops up in here, so we could even see lower prices on the euro. Let's just go over the euro GBP here. I don't believe there's going to be a great trade on the euro today. I think it's more so into Thursday that we'll probably see a little bit of price movement in it. So I'm not going to be discussing the euro today. And actually, we've got one of our analysts is going to be jumping on here on Thursday London Open, doing a trading session, and I believe he's doing it. I think he said he was available. If not, he'll be putting out signals for it, but he'll be trading the euro on Thursday, so I think that's when the trade is going to pan out. And you can see here, price ran back up, so this whole consolidation level came back down, took out the lows, and so far it's put in a big wick back up in this consolidation range here. We could see lower prices. It could want to come down, double tap one more time, or this could be the breakout of the consolidation. I doubt it. They just haven't come down to take stops underneath the market here for a very long time. So I think ultimately this will probably snap back in to alignment and run higher, but it may want to trade down one more time before it does that. So if it does that, it's going to take the euro USD down with it. So you can see, where was yesterday's trading? Here it is here. So they were running price up off the low, and euro subsequently saw that nice run up as well too. You can see here, and then they ran price up and then dropped it back down, and then again you can see on the euro that's where they ran the price up and then smashed it back down, and it's been trading softer since. So there could be another down day on this. If it does give us a down day, what it's going to do, it will allow the pound dollar to run higher. and again, they left these equal highs up here for a reason. They don't always come back the very next day and get the stops. And I'll give you an instance of this. About 2 weeks ago, let me just double check the date. I just want to make sure I get this right, because a very, very similar occurrence happened, and obviously price does the same thing, the same type of patterns. You can pick these out of the market on a regular basis, but this one happened, I think it was about 2 weeks ago. I think it was the Thursday or the Friday, the 15th or 16th. Let me just go to the day here, and I'll just double check. It was when price broke the big figure, 140, yeah, here it was here. So you can see here, I'll just borrow this guy here, since it's already on. So you can see here how they really had a tight trading range for, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days. They were running this thing straight sideways, and you knew, right? Equal high, equal high, equal high. Failed to take the stops, but they're taking everything lower, taking the stops, stops. Everybody was waiting for them to finally take this up, and it happened on the it was the 19th, so that was Monday the 19th, so it was a week ago. They looked like they were trading softer, and then they jammed price up, finally ran those highs, and then traded higher ever since. So that's kind of, but that took, they created the high and then another equal high, and it took 1, 2, 3 days for them to get back up there and finally get those highs. If we get lucky today and price does what I think it's going to do, you don't need this anymore. They don't always do it the very next day, so just keep that in mind. When trading, right? You got to be very nimble. You got to be very agile. You can't marry a trade idea, and if you're wrong and price is going against you, you've got to make sure you have your stop levels in there, and you got to manage your risk accordingly. Obviously, so if let's say you got a 30 pip stop on and price runs against you, 15, 20 pips, might be a good idea to maybe close a portion of the trade. Let's say you've got, just for argument's sake, you've got 5 mini lots on your demo account trade, and price starts running against you, again, might be a good idea maybe to take a couple, maybe 1 or 2 of those mini lots off and reduce your risk, just in case price does trade down to your stop. So again, this whole thing about, marginalizing your risk, maximizing your gain, again, just another sort of trick of the trade. So, you can always add positions back on. If, let's say price starts ripping against you 10, 15, 20 pips, and you're thinking, okay, this thing might stop me out. So you close half your position and to see what happens, and then price starts to turn around. You can always add more back in as price turns around, right? There's always an opportunity to add price in, so you never have to fear about losing out, and you'd be actually getting price at a better getting in at a better price too. So you'd actually be making more money. But anyway, that's kind of what I'm looking at. Highs up here to get taken. I'm hoping they're going to do it today. I don't want to wait around like this day back here for 3 or 4 days before they finally do that. So we'll see how that works out. But again, I want to see price start to reject in this area here and run down. I want to see them. They really did a good job of sitting on price here and just chopping it sideways. Very, very clean lows in here. So we'll see. We'll see if they want to just drop down, wick down here and run it, or if they actually want to have a significant pullback. And again, I'd like to see them come somewhere in this area here. I don't want to get too specific on here, but one of these areas for sure I think is going to get ran. Yeah, and I would expect them to only go... you know what, let me get this data divider off here. See this wick low here? That kind of lines up just a little bit higher than that 140, 140 level. So I would expect them to only go down by a couple of pips. So the low of this candle here came in at 141.44. So about 5 pips lower would be a nice stop run to that first level there. So we'll watch for that. But again, keep your eye on this level right here. They may just want to come down and just tap it and then start running. So, but I mean, unless we get something like this happen, see what they were doing here, and this is a real classic identifier of, for instance, let's say you're long here, okay? This is a real classic identifier of them wanting to take price low very quickly, and not allow anybody to get onto this trade. Okay, there's one small little retracement rate in here, and price actually traded right back off the high of that. You can see there, price banged off the high of that. So that's a pretty significant level right there. But they didn't allow anybody to get on this trade. minimal, very minimal pullbacks, and they just kept smashing price down. Only into after here, and here they started, wicking price higher a little bit, but they just smashed it down very, very quickly. So when price starts doing that, that's a tip-off that they're going to take this thing deep. It's not just going to be a quick low, 10 or 20 pip stop run. It's going to be deep, quick, and it's going to hurt, and there's going to be a lot of liquidity taken on the downside on a lot of big areas targeted. So that's where you want to minimize your risk. You want to get out. You will definitely want to have a stop on. You want to make sure you trade with stops at all times, because you never know what can happen with the market. And you could get a black swan event or something like that, where they just literally take price off the charts, in the flash of an eye, or in the blink of an eye, I mean, and not allow you to recoup any of your money back. So anyway, that's kind of the identifier, and like I say, the move lower, how I knew that that wasn't just going to be a quick stop run is because the speed at which they started dropping price. So that's a real telltale sign, and it's tough to get into these moves. So let's say you readjusted and said, okay, we've got a downward trajectory. Yes, you could just put it in an arbitrary short position pretty much anywhere in here, and you would have definitely pulled some pips out of the market. But you really don't want to be trading unless it's giving you a bit of a pullback. You want to be selling on an up candle. And really there weren't a whole lot of those except this guy right in here that would have given you an opportunity. So again, another clue that they want to take price lower quickly and deeply. So anyway, that is that is the USD, Euro USD, Pound USD, and I'll just have a quick look. I'm just going to take about the next 15-20 minutes here and just have a quick look at a couple other markets and see where we're sitting in relation to what price did today on the US dollar, and see kind of what levels we're working with. You can see here that the yen, US yen, just created another new low here this week. So they traded off of this old high in here a couple of times, didn't really show any willingness to go lower right away. They rejected and traded higher, and then finally they dropped it lower. And so really ugly price trading in here. I mean, this is not great. Like, this is almost borderline consolidation for about a week. These are daily candles, so it's actually about 2 weeks almost. And then they finally dropped it out here late last week, and price again just has been slowly starting to come back up again. So don't really want to see, if they are going to trade lower on this, I don't really want to see them go any higher than price in here. That would kind of be about the extent of it. If they do want to drive it lower, they shouldn't need to go any higher again into that consolidation area. Oh my god, still didn't get a straight line after all that. So yeah, like I wouldn't want to see price trading back up into the bodies and closing into the bodies up in here on the yen. I would expect that they've traded price in this range quite efficiently, and that this range has been satisfied, and it should start to trade lower. Again, may not happen this week. We could still see price just go straight sideways for the week, because it is a holiday weekend, and a lot of people, it's spring break too. I know, for instance, in the U.S., I know a lot of kids in the U.S. and elsewhere around the world that observes that holiday. That kids are out on spring break holidays now, and so a lot of big money could be sitting on the sidelines for this week as well too. So I'll just keep that in mind. Anyway, U.S. yen, U.S. CAD. Starting to get a little bit ugly in here, to be honest with you. They had a nice pullback. Price hit a pretty significant level up in here, pulled back nicely, and 100% of the range of this move higher, it pulled back right back down to the origin of that move higher. So very interesting. They haven't closed lower than that, than these candles yet, or even gone down and taken the stops yet. I would expect them to, though. I would expect price to start to run back down and potentially start to tag off of these highs in here and convincingly run these stops. So we'll be watching for that, especially if we get lower prices in the US dollar, which I'd like to see happen this week. Excuse me. We could see prices run lower as well too with the US CAD, but this has really been decoupled from the dollar index. You can see here this has been running straight down, whereas US CAD has been running straight up. So if you're just new to the game and you don't understand how the currency cross pairs work, anything with the US dollar in the currency basket, so you know, US CAD, US yen, pound dollar, whatever, wherever the position of the US dollar is in that basket is going to tell you if it's going to be bullish or bearish. So the US dollar is in the front, right? US CAD, US, emphasis on the US. So if the US dollar goes up, the US CAD should be going up. If the US dollar goes down, US CAD should be going down. So it's an exact replica of what the US dollar is doing. And especially when the US dollar is showing some strength. Now, again, it's the dominant pair. What's it been doing? Going straight down, whereas the US CAD has been going straight up, like I say. So it's decoupled a little bit here. And actually, it wasn't just this range here. It was actually this range as well, too, where price really wasn't respecting what it was doing. So just keep that in mind with the US CAD. But like I say, if we do get a bit of a push lower on the US dollar, this could push the loonie down, back down into here. And then who knows where it's going to go from there. I don't really want to see it go lower than this consolidation area in here, in my opinion. You know, they traded lower, they ran back up, consolidated the hell out of it right in here, and traded in this range for a couple of months. Traded lower out of it, failure swing down into here, and then pump this thing higher, and it's just taken the stops out here, and then traded up to, like I say, an old significant consolidation range back up in here. So price tends to, like I was saying before, trade from consolidation to consolidation. It's done that now. Trading softer, and so they may be sweeping liquidity, maybe just under this short-term low here to scoop some of that up. So they could be doing that here this week. So we'll watch for that to happen, but no trade on US CAD that I'm looking at for this week here. I'd like to see this thing to start to get back in alignment with what the US dollar is doing. Bitcoin. I don't know if there's any Aussie traders out there, but this has been, again, showing some weakness, which it really shouldn't be, because, right, Aussie USD, again, USD is in the back end of this currency pair here, so this should be doing the opposite of what the US dollar is doing. US dollar has been running down, Aussie should be running higher. And it hasn't been doing that here for, it hit some highs early well, I shouldn't say early, I'd say mid-January. It hit some highs, took out the liquidity over here, and it's been trading softer since. So we're going to have to see what's going to happen with this one. But I don't have anything to discuss on this one either. And really the past, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 days now, it's just really been trading in a very, very tight range. That's a 100 pip range, so if you can trade those, all the power to you. I don't like trading those. They're not very fun, so in my opinion. Bitcoin, not doing a whole bunch either. Traded softer from yesterday. As I had mentioned several times, did not want to see price trade higher than this blue line in here, and it really traded softer the past week, which is nice to see. However, they're really taking their time going lower. If they were going to go and sweep these lows here, I'd really like them to see something like this, and just, getting lower and getting down there quickly to pretty much prevent anybody from getting in on that trade. The trade idea. They're not really doing that. They did it quickly here, and they've just been since just kind of going, sideways and really meandering their way down. So we may see higher prices in here yet before that low is taken. So But right now it's just really trading at the low end of this range. So we'll kind of see what happens. Not really great price trading. I mentioned as well too, this time yesterday when I did my live session yesterday, price had put in this high up here. You could have went short off of the retest of these old lows back in here, but I would not. But when I was discussing this, price was down here, and I said there's no way I want to take a short at this position here, and you can see why. Price traded right back up. I said if price traded back up to this level here, you could get short, and that's actually exactly what price did. It traded right to the bottom of those candles right there, as I mentioned, and then you could have got short there. Same type of idea. Again, I wouldn't want to necessarily trade short here. I'd want to see price potentially get back up to here one more time, and we'll see. You know, it doesn't have to. Of course, it could just fall off from here. But I definitely wouldn't want to be trading short from there. So that's kind of the only thing. There is some levels up here that might interest me. If price traded back up to like this 82.80 level, you know, for potential failures up there. But I don't really like anything that's sitting on Bitcoin right now. So we'll wait for, I think, the rest of this week to pan out in order to see what transpires there. And then we'll look next week into crypto a little more in depth, and we'll see if we can't pick out some levels once price sort of gets out of this sloppy little range that it's in here. Crude oil. Hang on before we get to crude oil. One sec, guys. Before I go to crude oil, I actually just want to see where we're at here. So price is starting to finally, well, it's rolling over on the euro. It hasn't started to roll over yet on the pound dollar, which is encouraging to see. US dollar starting to push a bit higher here. So I'd like them to take the highs out here and then reject. I don't want to see them go back up and retest these levels in here at all. But I'd like to see this start to fall off as well, and I'm not seeing that yet. So hopefully they're going to start doing that soon, and we can potentially look at getting in. Here we go. Here now it might be starting to push down. So check back on this one here in a few minutes. I don't think price is going to slam down in a 2-minute interval and then, you know, 40 pips lower and then rip higher. There's no news events or anything to inject liquidity or volatility into the market. That was on the economic calendar, so let me just double check that. Yeah, not until 8:30, so I don't even think there's any low impact news. Let me just change my filter. 1 second. Well, you know what? There is, in about an hour, there's a very low impact news event on the German GfK consumer climate, whatever the hell that is. Never heard of that before in my life. And then there is actually a pound sterling low impact news event called the CBI realized sales at 6 a.m. New York time. So I can't see that injecting a ton of liquidity, like as in like a 40 pip smash down liquidity news event. But we'll just have to kind of wait and see. But you can see prices really consolidating sideways here, just sitting. Now the euro's moving pretty good now. Let's just watch this level here for a second and see what they want to do with it. Those lows right here. See if they have any willingness to come back down and see if they want to retest these old highs in here. That would be a bit of a stretch, I think, but we're not too far away. So let's just see what we've got here. Now keep in mind, price could just sweep these two lows right there and start to reject, but we're 132.80, you call it 132.85, whatever, 132.86, and 123.95. kind of like this level here. We'll see sort of what happens here. They could just be dropping it just below these lows here. Again, I'm not too interested in taking a trade on the euro, and only because the highs were violated in here like that. So I don't know what their willingness would be to run those highs up in there again. And so we'll just have to kind of wait and see how that transpires. But in the hourly, there's another level in here that I'm looking at. Pretty much the high of that candle there could offer some sort of support. So we'll see if price wants to bounce at that level there, which comes in at 124. Might even go to 124 big figure. That would be a little more of a logical level. So we'll see. Let me just see where that is on price. Let's shrink this up a little bit. Oops. So we'll see if price wants to kind of come back down to this area in here at all. But any movement here? No, price is starting to push higher on this one. I really like the cable as a trade today, but maybe it could be delayed. Just have to kind of keep an eye on it. And they're really moving the euro though. So I'm just thinking here for a second, guys. There's definitely room for it to go up. And that'd be a nice, if you got in along there, you'd be a nice, 35 pips into the the lows of this old consolidation range here. But don't know that. Well, I'll have to wait and see here. Doesn't even look like it's doing much. It's just kind of sitting there now. I just don't really want to take a trade on the euro. And again, the only reason is because it hit the liquidity above the market. The liquidity on the draw-in price is going to be up here, but I don't want to have to buy it in this consolidation area. Drop down to a 5 minute and see what we see here. Really like these equal lows in here. So let's say price ran down under here on the pound. So that's about 5 pips. So let's say we took a level from there. Price would have to drop about 20 pips, a little over 20 pips. That would be a nice move. That's what I'd like to see. I feel like the confluence and everything lining up with the pound dollar is a little stronger than the euro right now. Then again, we just have to watch as they come down here. If we don't see any willingness to reject on those levels, then they could be looking for these lows to be taken. Which again, I mean, we're trading pretty high off of that, so we may not get a retracement that deep on the dollar, or on the pound dollar, so just bear that in mind. You might just have to be content taking it up in here. Let me get a level on that. What was that again? 141. Yeah, about 141.70. Yeah, right about in there. So we'll see. Excuse me. Not interested in chasing price either. If price just keeps continuing higher, I'll look for a reason for it to come back down to these levels, but I'm not too interested in just going long straight there, because I think that they're just too interested in dropping it. And hopefully it'll start following suit along with the Euro USD. So we'll wait and see what happens there. Real quickly, oil. I think we could see oil get smashed down a little bit lower here today. There are some very significant levels down here at the 2660 level. Oops. If I can get 2660 on this tag. Pretty close. Very significant levels down there, but it would have to close lower than these two lows right here in order for price to reject. And just keep in mind, there is a level right here that I've got marked, this line right here. This basically just this old high at 63.25, where it could see rejection, but we could see price much lower on crude oil for today. Price ran up and then traded softer and tried to run up again. It was a failure swing here, and then basically just traded in back into the consolidation, retested it, and then they price fell off. Been trading kind of slow and a little bit weak right there, but we'll see. These are these levels here that I was talking about. So we could see a continuation to the downside and them just sweeping these lows here on oil. I'd like to see oil prices go higher and take out these old highs up here. But we're going to have to wait and see. We could see some retracement first before they do that. So we'll watch for that. If you are an oil trader, I wouldn't be looking at longs yet. I would want to see price come down convincingly and potentially take out some lows here first. If you are a crude oil trader. And that's pretty much about it in terms of commodities and everything else that I saw today. That really caught my eye. And orange juice. Orange juice had a little pop at that level I was talking about, but not real convincing. So I don't know if I'm going to be looking at this in the near term, unless price does something significant. But it did create a couple equal lows down here and then traded off very strongly. Off of this level here, and then has since returned back down and then traded off again. So we'll see. Like I say, there are equal lows right down here. That price could want to target. That's not even a straight line again, but you get the idea. So look at that. The Dow Jones. This thing has really been falling out of bed. Look at that price rejection today. Yeah. I was actually watching this as this was doing this. Created a high here, and I started following it right around here. And I was just watching price splash down and smash down. I was thinking, geez, how low are they going to take this thing? And you can see here they just took another failure swing, or sorry, they just took the liquidity out under here and then wicked it higher. So I think ultimately, though, whoops, we could be seeing these lows here taken out, but we'll see. It could be a big breakdown in that market. And that a little bit similar, not quite as the S&P. S&P, it's got equal wicks down here, equal lows down here. But again, same thing today. Price got smashed down. So we'll see if they want to take out these lows again tomorrow or not. But anyways, that's about it. It's pretty much the top of the hour here right now. That's about as long as I said I'd stay with you guys. So we're seeing lower prices in the euro. Again, like to see them take out some levels here. Love it if they came down and blew through here and got back down and just took out the lows here and then started trading higher. Basically come down 5 or 10 pips lower than here and then run higher is sort of what I'd like to see. Don't want to see them come back and retest this low in here. But I would, again, be expecting higher prices. But like I was saying earlier about that earlier example of the pound dollar, you know, you got a high in mind that you think, so here's the new high right here. coming in at 124.75. You got these like right in here. Here's a good example. See these two equal highs here? Price comes up, creates the first high, comes back down, retests that high, fails to go any higher, price drops. And then you think, okay, well, that's right where the liquidity is. So they run price back up and fail and go even lower. And then they run it up and basically consolidate. And this is the euro again. So price was just chopping. And then finally, just yesterday, they ran price up and took out that high and then dropped it back again. So I'm hoping to see you see this level in here. That's basically a very, very strong support level in there. At what does that come in at? That level there at 123.70 basically to 123.50. Very, very strong support line or support level, and you can see how many times. And I'm just basically basing that off of how many times price is traded in at that level. It's a very significant level. If I drive this line straight out, not only is it about the mid-range of the entire consolidation here, but it also, you can see price 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Spent a very, very long period of time trading that exact price range, and then they ran price out of the consolidation, dropped it right back down and almost to the pip of that level again, and now it's traded higher since. So it's kind of interesting how price works sometimes. You definitely know there's an algo working at specific levels when you see stuff like that happen. So 124.05 has been swept. They're going lower now, so we'll just have to wait and see how low they want to go. And no willingness to reject it all. Like, you don't see any candles pushing up or anything like that, so that just leads me to believe that they've got a certain price in mind here, and I think they're going to want to return back up higher after that. Kind of let me just look at that here. Yeah, I got priced by about a pip, but relatively equal highs up here as well too. That could be targeted in the short term if they want to continue to price lower. So just, like I say, keep watching. Pound dollar just sitting sideways again, not doing much. So, you guys have any questions or anything like that? I feel like a broken record when I say that, because nobody ever has any questions. I either explain it very well, or everybody knows how to trade very, very well, or I'm way off the mark here, and you've got your own ideas. So that could be very real as well. I definitely like higher prices coming up on this one here. But like I say, price would have to break this high here in order for me to get excited about it. Because again, like I was saying, it's only about 35 pips from this low here up to here. It's about, like I said, 35 pips. From here to there, it's about 45. And then if they run the liquidity under here, that would be a little bit more exciting of a trade, to 50 pips. And that would be a great range. If you can capture 50 pips today, great pip haul for the day. I think that that would be a great target. But you can always do a couple of target ranges as well too, and which we do all the time. So let's say we get long down here. This would be your first target, and then this would be your second target. So what you would do is you would, again, back to that whole example I used earlier about using, for instance, 5 mini lots on your trade. Let's say you got long down here with 5 minis. You could take off 2 or 3 minis right here, capture some profit, move your stop to break even, and then watch and wait for price to run higher from there, if that's what it wants to do. And that's a great way to trade as well too, and then that way you're always banking profit, no matter what happens. So yeah, so that's the euro. Looks like we might be seeing a little rejection right now, so we'll wait and watch for that. I don't want to jump into a trade either. I don't want to just because price is retracing, I don't want to sit down and just you know, grab the grab a trade just because it hit some level. Price basically is back down to the opening of the day right now. So far it doesn't show any willingness. That's what this line delineates right here, right across. That's basically the opening of the day today. And so far price is unwilling to close. And this candle's got about another 3 minutes. I'll watch this for about another 3 minutes, and then I think I'll close down the session. See where this candle wants to close, and then that's what I'm talking about. If price is unwilling to close lower than specific levels that you have identified on your chart, it's kind of a very good precursor to let you know that they're going to start ripping price the other direction to get those failures to close. But if they keep closing lower and closing lower and closing lower, you just got to wait. You don't want to pick bottoms. Like for instance, like right here, how are you going to pick this bottom? You know, yes, you could have argued and said, well, you know, maybe these old highs in here would have been a good catalyst for a reversal. And yes, you would have been right. You wouldn't have got the exact low. But that's what I mean here. I mean, how do you get the exact low? Price could trade here and reject. It could trade and sweep these stops here and reject. It could come back down into this original consolidation range and reject. So you got to put a couple of different levels on the charts. You got to do some adding up and see where it's all where it could fall. So whoops, clicked the wrong button there. That was my other demo account. I just wanted to double check price, make sure we're getting. I see pound dollar is starting to really make a run higher now, unfortunately. It could make a run higher without us. I'm not interested in getting into a trade when it's up, when it's sitting up here like that. I want to see some pullback on it. You know, I don't like buying when price is already exploding out. Just because, let's say you buy right now and then they start to bring price back down, and now you got to sit and draw down. Hate it when that happens. So we're just gonna have to wait and see. And if price wants to run up here and take out these stops, well, it is what it is. I got a feeling that I don't think they're gonna want to do that, but you never know. What's Euro GBP doing? Euro GBP, it's running lower quite nicely. You see this big breakout to the downside here? It could be, they're definitely manipulating it, but they're running these two against each other, which they typically don't do for the most part. You know, for example, right, Euro GBP, one's going up. Then let's say there's weakness on the euro and strength on the pound dollar, which is exactly what you're seeing right here. You're seeing weakness on the euro, strength on the dollar. But these two, euro USD and pound dollar, usually fall in alignment in terms of you know, their direction and their overall movement. You can see that there, and then you can see that there. Very, very similar movements in price, and that's just in relation to the US dollar declining. So that's why you're seeing that there. But anyway, back to this. See what we got here. Price closed lower. What is the high of that candle? Let me just. Well, the close of the candle comes in at 124.04, which is basically where it was. Basically closed right on it, so pretty efficient delivery of price. So if that's the low, it's going to hit it, and it should start running higher from here. Just have to wait and see for a minute here. But like I say, I'm kind of only interested in this one here, and I want to see some decline. I want to see price push down through here, get lower, and then snap up the liquidity rate under here and run higher. So anyway, that's all I've got. If you guys are members, I'll be watching this going forward, and I will put out a signal on it. just want to watch price for a little bit longer here to see what it gives us. But and that'll be going out to the signal section of our website, just so you know, so you're aware. Or sorry, of our website, of our Telegram messaging service that we use. So, yeah. Mouth is dry today. Anyway, I will pull some levels off the chart here, post a screen capture so all of our members can grab that. And if you're not part of our membership, good luck. I hope you guys have a very profitable Wednesday trading, and hopefully I've given you some ideas that you can work with. But I think ultimately, like I was saying to you, the draw-on price is going to be up here. We've come down, we've wicked down and rejected, and I think this is going to keep trading higher. But it's where do you feel comfortable getting in at is the big question. So if you feel comfortable getting in up here, all the power to you. It'll hopefully ride up for you. But just bear in mind, if you decide to get into here, price could want to come down and retrace lower. So make sure you have your risk set up appropriately. And remember, it is a holiday long weekend this week, so price may not always do what you want it to do. It's not necessarily the most conducive environment to trading right now, so just keep that in mind as well. So, okay, thanks guys. I really appreciate you joining up with us, and as always, there will be another trading session tomorrow morning. Dave is going to jump on Thursday morning at 9 a.m. New York time, and he's going to be trading the S&P market. He's going to be running through some potential setups, so you can watch for that, and we'll go from there. You know what, actually, I'm second guessing myself. Give me 1 second, guys. I might just be giving you the wrong information here. I just got to go back through my notes and sorry, my fault, guys. I did get the days screwed up. Dave will actually be doing the New York session today. So in about what time is it here? 1 o'clock New York time. Dave will be on at 9 o'clock New York time. So about just under 8 hours from now. So he'll be trading the S&P gold, and he'll be discussing the US yen as well too. Watch for that at 9 a.m. New York time. Where was that on the charts here? 9 a.m. New York time, he'll be jumping on and doing some live trading with you as well too. So you can watch for that, and I'll send out notifications about 15 minutes before, so you can click the link and join in. But that'll be on our members Telegram portal as well too, and I'll send out a couple of YouTube notifications, Twitter notifications, Facebook notifications, Instagram notifications, all the above. Which, by the way, these are our social media links. If you haven't yet, make sure you check us out at F45 Trading on Twitter, or Future 45 Trade Signals on Instagram. And love to have you guys. And make sure as well too, bottom right hand corner here, click the subscribe button to subscribe to our YouTube channel. So you get instant updates and notification right to your phone when we go live and we're trading. So several sessions throughout the week that you can take advantage of, so you can watch for that. And anyway, that's it. I don't have anything else to go through, guys. I'm going to call it a night, and I'll leave it for Dave in about the next 8 hours here to jump on and take it from there. So have a great Wednesday, and like I say, careful in the charts, and hopefully you're profitable. And we'll catch up to you next time.